Hey, and welcome to the Bandsaw safety demo, the William D. Pratt Bandsaw safety demo with yours truly, Mr. Blakely. So, Bandsaw, you've watched the video already on D2L. This is getting into the specific safety one, how we use our own bandsaw. Okay, so one of the reasons, first thing I'm going to show you here is inside the bandsaw. You won't be doing this, but this is one of the reasons. Good to know how a bandsaw works, and one of the reasons why you don't back up. So in here is this wheel. There's one here. There's one on the bottom as well, and the blade is here and it goes down. So this is called a bandsaw because you've got the saw blade here. Is a band of metal that runs around this, and it cuts when it comes down through here. This spins around when it's running, and the blade teeth come down. And when they hit the piece of wood that's sitting on top of the table, it cuts it. To set this up on this machine, here's the blade. When the wood hits the front of it, it pushes back. There is two bearings right here that you can see that keep the blade from flexing too much side to side. And there's also on this side right here what's called a thrust bearing. Okay? This bearing right here, if I lift this up a little bit, oh sorry, it goes up with it, you can't see it. But it's right here. When a piece of wood goes against the blade and pushes, the blade goes back and it hits this bearing, and that bearing keeps it from going any further back. There is nothing keeping it from coming off. And in fact, in the old days on bandsaws, to take the blade off, you would actually just take and put some pressure this way and turn it by hand and it would pop right off. So if you try to back up on this when you're cutting and your wood touches the back of the blade, just a bit of friction on the blade can actually make the blade pop off. When this is spinning around, that blade comes off, it's gonna be bad for the blade and potentially very bad for you. So don't back up on a bandsaw, it's unsafe. Only going through when I do put pressure on that, that thrust bearing's back there and it can't go any further. So the blade is basically just rolling on top of the crown or the ridge on top of this wheel and just floating there I actually have to set it up and balance it so that it stays in the right spot, but there's nothing keeping it from coming off the front. Okay. Again, you'll never have to go in there. That is, I just show you so you understand why we don't back up. Here's our bandsaw. As you come up to it, you're going to look it over, make sure that it's safe to use. Okay, make sure you get your safety gear on. When I use it, I'll be putting my hearing protection down. Normally when you're in here, you'll already have your hearing protection on, and you'll have your mask on as well in here. But right now, I have mine off, so it's not because I want to be able to talk clearly at you. You're going to check this over. Is there anything broken on it? Does it look in good repair? Normally it's going to be, but you're going to check this. The last person should have left this down almost touching here. Look it over, is there anything, this is in good repair, nothing obviously broken, no wires hanging off and stuff like that, other than it's unplugged, which is a good thing because I was inside it. And so we're going to come along and we're going to get ready to use it. Okay. One of the first things you're going to be doing is your push stick. I will be giving you a piece of wood like this, or I may say go and get the bandsaw set up. And so you're going to come in, you're going to have your push stick booklet with you. Okay. You've already done the first page, which is the safety stuff, and you're going to flip to the back page. You're going to have done your D2L safety tests already, gotten 100% on the test. And then it says step 2, get geared up, proper attire, safety glasses, hearing protection, and then the machine ready. So I give you permission, you come in here, you're setting up the machine. So the first thing it says, set the fence 55 millimeters from the left-hand side of the bandsaw blade. So on here, we have our bandsaw blade. Here's our fence. We're going to lift this up. The fence should be always left with a little bit of space in here. I'll explain why in a minute when I'm finished. And then we're going to bring this over. Now, this is going to be in the way here. We want to measure into here. Okay, so measure from the fence. I'm going to lift up my fence and get it out of the way, or so to lift my guard out of the way so you can see what's going on here. And we want to measure this. Now, what we're doing is measuring the width of our push stick stock. So we're going to be cutting out a square block. Basically a strip here on your piece of wood, you'll see an arrow. The piece of wood I give you will probably have that. That's the way we're going to be cutting it. And I messed up on that one. It actually should be this way. So just did that. Yeah. Follow the arrows. The arrow should be running this way. There'll be an arrow on yours, and you're going to cut that way. Okay, so we're going to cut a strip like this. We want that strip, as it says on the page right here, to be at 55 millimeters. Or, if you know your metric system, in centimeters, that'd be 5.5 centimeters. So, up on top of the bandsaw, there should be a ruler. There may be others around, but there should be one sitting up on top of there. And you're going to grab this, and we're going to go 5.5 centimeters. So you'll be bringing your ruler over, slide this over, and you're going to set that at 5.5 centimeters. Now you always check this tight. So you want to put this down, and only 2-finger tight. Yes, you can crank that down, but there's no point. You're just wearing it out. 2 fingers is all you need. set it up, and I'm a little bit, and then I check it. Because as I tighten this, when this is loose, you can see that back end can move side to side a fair amount, like a good centimeter. Okay, so adjust it close, tighten it, 2 fingers, and then check it. Okay, and we always want to check from the left-hand side of the blade, if possible. Here's a tooth that's deflected way to the left, because on these blades, the blade actually has teeth on it. Those teeth don't stick straight out at you, they're actually flayed sideways. And the reason for that is we want to cut what's called a kerf, or the material it removes in the wood is called a kerf. And we want that kerf to be wider than the thickness of the blade, because if it was the same, if those teeth were straight out, it would still cut, but then as your piece of wood went back and hit the back part of the blade would be rubbing on that, causing heat, which will wreck the temper in this. It'll dull it faster, wear it out, and heat's never good for machines. So what they do is, and it can't cut well, so what they do is they flay the teeth out on them so that they're wider than the blade, so it removes a bigger kerf in the back of the blade, and that allows it to cool down, allows the sawdust to get out of there, and allows it to cut way better. So what that means for your cutting is you want to make sure that you're measuring from the left-hand side. So there's a tooth that is sticking to the left-hand side. I'm keeping, this is my good piece here, this side here is going to be my off-cut when I cut the piece of wood. So as I run this piece of wood through, okay, I'm going to keep this piece, this is my off-cut, so I always measure on the good side. So I'm measuring, as it says, 5.5 centimeters. That's too big. To adjust it, what I want to come closer. I want to bring my fence closer to the left-hand side here. So I'm going to put my hand on here. This part of this is the fence. This part here slides on this guide right here. Okay, so I want to hold my hand on there to keep the whole thing steady. I need to come that way about 2 millimeters. So I hold this, lift up on this. Another reason why I don't want to tighten this down. If this is really tight, I lift up and it's going to jump around on me. And I want to, so I lift it up, loosen it. I want to slide it this way a bit. What I think is about 2 millimeters, tighten it again, and then check it. And I pretty much nailed it right there. Perfect would be about 5.6 centimeters. I'm actually right on 5.6, so that's excellent. You want a little bit more, a little bit bigger than 5.5 is perfect, because you can always sand it down and you can go smaller. If I cut it too small, then I can run into problems. Now on your push stick, it really doesn't matter, but if I'm making a box or a drawer or something like that, and I cut it too small, then I'm going to have problems, because that's going to make it not square, or I'm going to have a gap in there and it can be noticeable. 1 millimeter might not seem like a lot, but 1 millimeter is a ton when you're talking about cabinet work and stuff like that. Nothing we're doing here, and it really doesn't matter for the push stick, but get in the habit of cutting it a little big, and then you can drop it. You can always sand it down afterwards. Okay, so there I'm set up at 5.5, so my fence is set up correctly. Ruler back up top, and then I'm going to drop this down. Now, if I've given you your piece of wood, you can use that. If you don't have your piece of wood, then you can just go ahead and use any push stick that's in here. So we're using 3-ply plywood, so it's got the 3 layers on it. That's what we cut our push sticks out of, and any of the push sticks will have that. So you can just take a push stick, and there should always be a couple up here, and you can lay it down there, and then we want to be dropping this down. If you remember from the other videos, we want to be about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch is what they say. If you're not sure what that is, basically it's the thickness of a pencil. So you can take a pencil and bring it up, and we just want the pencil. The pencil should just not go underneath it. There, you're perfect. Okay, and the idea is that we don't want to get our finger in there. Okay, so pencil thickness is what we're looking for right there, or just less than that. You don't need more than a pencil thickness above that, so that's perfect right there. And to adjust that, I should have showed you before I did it, you loosen this guy here. So here's the knob, okay? I'm tightening it up, just finger tighten, and that's all it is. So this knob goes in and bites against the side of this, so that the guard doesn't go up or down accidentally, okay? So I really shouldn't be adjusting this, turning this, which does make this go up and down if this is tight. To move it, I would loosen this off, 1/2 a turn is all you need, and then adjust this, and then snug it back up again. Again, you see I'm just using 2 fingers, doesn't need to be tight at all, it's just to hold it there, don't need to crank on it, just break stuff. And right now I'm ready to cut. So if I haven't given you your wood, you come, Mr. Blakely, and tell me, Mr. Blakely, I'm all set up and ready to go. But you also will need your push sticks. At least 1, but maybe 2, depending on the size of the wood. Okay? Push stick keeps your fingers away from the blade. So if I have a big piece of wood like this, I can put this on here. How many push sticks do I need? Well, this hand will be pushing it through. It's going to get close to the blade, so in that danger zone right here. Danger zone on this is bigger than a softball. Okay? So we never want to have our fingers in that. If we keep our fingers out of that danger zone, no way we can get cut. On this piece of wood, I could hold it in with this hand, and there's no way as I go along that that's going to come anywhere near the danger zone. So I really only need one push stick, which would be right here on this side. So in this case, I would be here, and I would go like this. As I'm getting set up and ready, I've got my push sticks. You get your wood from me. If you're at this point and you haven't got the wood, you've got it all set up, you need to come and get wood from me, and then you're ready to go. Okay, I will always be here for your first cut, so you and your spotter are here getting set up, getting ready. You come and get your wood from me, or if I've already given you the wood, you could use that to set up your height here, and then you come, you don't make your first cut until I'm here to watch you. Okay. On our first cut, what are we going to do? We want to hold it in here, or if we did have a push stick, we would hold it in here, and hold your push sticks properly. Okay, so these aren't bad push sticks. I like the notch on this one on the front. It's quite small, which makes it easy to grab something and control it. As they get bigger like this, there can be some problems with it. You really don't need a huge one like that. Not bad, it'll work. I like this one better. But I do like the hand holes on the back. I wish this was back a little bit more. You really want your hand to be grabbing the back end of the push stick. If it's like this, you might be tempted to go like that. That's now getting you closer to that danger zone. Don't really want that. You want to hold in the back edge so it's nice and far away. This is a nice one as far as the handle, because the handle is keeping my hand way at the back. Okay? Just doesn't fit my hand really well. You're going to design your own for your own hand. That's what you're doing, a cardboard modeling of it. This one is quite a big notch on the front end, but really good handle on the back end. Okay. I'm going to use these two though, so make sure you get the back end. And I can use a push stick out here and here like that. It's just not necessary out here. So I'm only going to use the one. Okay. What this hand is doing, or push stick if you're in close, if I was using a smaller piece of wood like this that I had to cut, then in that case definitely I'm going to have to use two push sticks because my hand can't hold there. I'm going to be in that danger zone. So I'd have one push stick here, one push stick here. So I'll use this just to demonstrate what you're going to do. This hand holds this in, and I want to keep the wood against the fence. I don't want it coming out like that, because if I do come out like that, I'm going to cut too narrow. My piece is going to be too narrow on the back end, or if I go like this, it's going to be too narrow on the front end. So the idea with this is I'm using enough pressure to keep it on the sides. I'm actually not watching the blade as I cut. I'm watching this fence, the front and the back of the fence, to make sure that my wood is tight to it. And then I will put my other one here. I'll be standing in front, which you'll see when I actually cut, but I will push ahead like this. Okay, I'll come up, I'll hit the blade, it starts to cut, and I will push along here. That hand will go inside, okay, right inside between the fence and the blade, the guides here. This one will come along. Occasionally, if it's a really thin piece of wood, so if I had a thinner piece of wood like this, and I'm cutting along, I might actually get where when I get up that this hits. In that case, I just turn it sideways like that and run it underneath. Okay, so I'd be going along like this and cutting that piece. Okay, so I'm all set up and ready to go. You get your wood, put it in here, we're ready to cut it. That'll cut it to the proper width for my push stick. And the next step is to start it up. So we'll pause to get safety gear on right now.